Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to another episode of the Revert series. Today we're joined with a very, very, very special guest, Mr. John, aka Yahya Baker.
Assalamu alaikum. Three varies, yeah. Very special. Very
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Before I get into who he is and everything, I think he should just introduce himself very quickly. Mr. Yahya, who are you?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Yahya or John. Been a Muslim for 3 years now, alhamdulillah. I'm just a British born and raised in Britain, just from a normal Christian family, not too practicing, and then alhamdulillah through the will of Allah, but through my friends became Muslim. Took around 8 years or so, and then alhamdulillah here now.
Alhamdulillah. And you're very active with Kilburn Islamic Center, I'm assuming. Every time I see one of their videos, he's always there.
Alhamdulillah, I try and do my bit because I took my Shahada with them.
Okay.
And it was that group of brothers, alhamdulillah. So I feel like, not that I owe them anything, but I have an affiliation to that masjid.
Okay, so you took a Shahada in that masjid?
Yeah.
Okay,
so it was with the brothers there. So I want to give back to that community as well because they gave me so much, alhamdulillah. They gave me Islam basically. So.
Okay, before we get into Kilburn and what you're doing now, inshallah, give us a story of how you became Muslim.
Okay, so alhamdulillah. So when I was around 11 or whatever, started secondary school, my school was 66% Muslim. So if you can imagine, I grew up in an area where there's a lot of Bengalis, a lot of Albanians, and a lot of white people. Islam wasn't really a big thing in my secondary school, in my primary school, even though a lot of them were Muslim. Because we're too young, we don't know anything about the religion or whatever. And alhamdulillah, when I went to secondary school, that's when I was introduced more to Islam. Both the negatives, a negative portrayal of it, and how the positives in people's actions. So I'd read the newspaper every morning on the way to school, nothing else to do. I'd read it and I'd see stuff about groups in other countries, how they're not doing the right thing, basically. And then I'd speak to my friends about it and how come they're so different. How come these guys are trying to do these horrible acts, but then you guys are inviting me to your house, you're speaking nicely to me, you're being polite and everything. And they explained to me how what they're doing is not Islamic. Although the newspapers, they're saying, no, this is what Islam is doing over there. Anyway, alhamdulillah. So that the misconceptions about Islam being a violent religion, it was never really there for me because I could see it with my own two eyes, how different it was compared to how it was being portrayed. And then I learned a bit through them. We used to have debates about Trinity versus Tawheed.
Oh, your friends, yeah?
Yeah. So I try and tell them how the Trinity made sense, how one thing can be three things. I try and use the example of water, how it can be a solid, a liquid and a gas. They're not the same thing, but they're all the same, it's all H2O, just in different states. Okay. So I feel, no, look, they're all God, they're just different states of God.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to push to them, but they're no, it doesn't make any sense. God is God. That's it. Khalas. Anyway, when I was around 16 or so, is when I started having major doubts in Christianity. I'd be going to church, but I'm sat there trying to believe or wanting to believe, but just in my heart, just thinking, how can this be true? I'm sat in church. I was something called a server. So at the front, there'd be the priest with the altar, and there'd be a group of helpers helping them out. I'd be one of those people helping them out.
Okay.
So I collect the money, I collect the bread, I collect the wine, take it to the priest. I do the incense, I go around the church, making it smell nice. I was active, but in my heart, I'm just
what am I doing?
I can't conceptualize this idea in my head. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm doing it to make my mum happy. I'm doing it because the church had no numbers. Mum said, go, increase the numbers in the church, make it look better, go there. So I was like, okay, cool. And at one point, she even used to pay me to go to church.
Wow.
I was getting paid £10 a week to go to church.
And you were 16 around that?
I was 16. I was thinking £10 a week, chilling.
Wow.
£40 a month.
That was a lot of money back in the day.
Yeah. As a 16-year-old, and I was working as well, £40 a month to go to church. It was amazing. This is the best deal of my life. Anyway, then I started researching a bit into Islam. You know those Dawah leaflets, the miracles of science in the Quran. I was reading that and it's it actually makes a bit of sense. Then when I was in A-level, so sixth form, when I was about 18, 17, 18 now, I'm reading it, and again, it's making more and more sense to me. I'm reading the English translation of the Quran. Okay, this makes sense. Like, okay, there's the same prophets. Okay, it's making a bit more sense, but I didn't feel ready because I say one thing that still kind of stuck was I thought I couldn't have any fun. You can't listen to music, you can't go out partying, you can't do this. Like, where's the fun? Even though I didn't do any of that stuff when I was with my friends who were Muslim anyway, and we still had fun. In my head, I'm thinking, how can you guys do this? Be fun. Anyway, I went to university, and that was a kind of low point in my life. I wasn't going to church, I wasn't doing anything, but I still had that belief in God. But the university lifestyle and what I was just following the crowd basically. So I'd go to places and go to events because everyone else was doing it. I didn't find any enjoyment in it. In fact, I found the places I was going to like dirty. The people that were in it, I found like, I don't like the people I'm with. I don't like the people that I'm seeing there. I don't want to be associated with these people. I don't want anything to do with them outside of where I am. But I'm going because I feel like I have to go have fun, whatever. And the people that I was with, the only time we'd message is like, are you going to come here today? I wouldn't ask them how they were. I wouldn't speak, how's your family? I didn't know how many brothers or sisters they had, anything like that. It was just, are you coming here? Yeah, cool, all right, cool. Meet in my flat. We'll get ready, then we'll go. That was it. I didn't have any like relationship with them apart from that. So I was hitting a low point, and then in my first year of university, around February time, the flatmate I was with, he had the bright idea of saying, do you want to come to the masjid? And he asked me, do your friends celebrate Mawlid or not? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. I have no idea what this is. I said, I don't think they celebrate it. So okay, cool. He took me to the masjid, and then the imam saw me in the crowd. It was a lecture about Yusuf alayhi salam, and how when you're doing well, people want to associate themselves with you. But when you're doing badly, like the brothers of Yusuf said, like, your son did this instead of my brother. It was your son. And when he was like in a higher status in Egypt, it was my brother. You know? So that kind of hit home as well. And I was like, okay, like I can see how that makes sense. But then what really kind of put me off was the imam afterwards came up to me and said, are you Muslim? I said no. And he's like, this is a trick from the shaitan. Take it today, take a Shahada right now. So I'm not ready. He's like, no, this is like the speech of shaitan. Like, you can't be saying this. How can you not be ready? Say it now because you could die tonight. I'm like, well, yeah, you're right, but I'm just not ready. I spoke to one of the brothers there. His main purpose in the masjid was to help reverts and Dawah. When there, he gave me loads of other leaflets, like women in Islam, the rights of women in Islam, talk about the punishments in Islam, this and that. I read it and it made more sense, and I'd speak to my friends from back home. When something like seemed kind of off, or I didn't understand it, didn't feel right in my heart, I spoke to him. He made it make sense to me, and I was able to accept it. Because when you read something on your own, sometimes you read it wrong, you misinterpret it, whatever. And I was able to speak to him. He actually, like, it made sense.
So was this at Kilburn or was it another masjid?
No, this was like my friends from back home.
Okay, cool.
So I wasn't affiliated to a masjid. The masjid I was with was in Leicester.
Oh, okay.
I went to university in Leicester, sorry.
Oh, okay.
So the imam who was saying like, this tricks of shaitan, he was the imam in Leicester.
Okay.
And then when I came home, it was lockdown. So when lockdown was announced, I said, okay, I'm not going to stay in Leicester because my house, it's a box room. I feel like I'm in a prison. I'm going to come back home, be with my family, then at least that I'm not alone. And alhamdulillah, it was that Ramadan. So Ramadan in lockdown, I decided to fast. So I spoke to my parents. I said, I want to fast. I want to eat halal food during Ramadan.
So you were Muslim at this time?
No, I wasn't Muslim at this time. Okay. But I spoke to them. I said, listen, I've been looking into Islam. I'm calling my mum most days before I come back home. And I'm going to the masjid. I think Islam, it makes sense to me. And she's like crying down the phone, why can't you be Christian? Why can't you believe in God as a Christian? Why can't you, even saying, why can't you be atheist? Why do you have to be Muslim? And I'm just telling her it makes sense. I'm trying to explain how it makes sense. In fact, the most ajib thing, when I was at uni, there'd be Christians in the library, right? And they're speaking to me, and I was giving them da'wah to Islam. Telling them how Islam makes sense.
Whilst you weren't Muslim.
While I wasn't even Muslim. So I'm trying to tell them, this is how Islam makes sense, this and that. And I come back home, I'm fasting, I'm trying to pray. So I'm watching YouTube videos on how to pray, copying what they're doing and then praying. But it wasn't accepted, obviously. And the fasting as well. However, I do feel like it generally did help me get closer to Allah. Because the intention was, I was making dua in my uni house, saying like, God, Allah, whatever form you are, like whatever the right way is to worship you, make it clear to me. I'd even face the Qibla and make that dua.
Wow. You honored a lot of influence.
I googled where the Qibla was. I used the Google one, found it, and then I was like, just in the corner of my room, just making dua, like whatever the right way is, make it clear to me. Come home, fasting, eating halal food only. There was a time I got seriously ill. Like, I'd wake up in the morning and I felt like something was choking me, but I was just wearing a vest.
Was it COVID or?
Yeah, I think it was COVID. I try and eat and I throw it back up.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
My temperature's like 40 degrees. I'm in bed, can't move, can't eat. I can only drink water, that's it. My friend said, like, recite the names of Allah. So I said, alright, cool, I'll try it. Like, this won't work. Try it. And I actually felt better the next day.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, right. So I'm praying now and I feel better. I'm fasting, it was nice. I recite the names of Allah when I'm ill. And I feel better the next day. Something's going on here. Then my friend, like, I went to Ireland, family stuff, came back home, met my university friends, went out for the day. When I was out with them, my friend gave me a call. He said, John, there's a talk on at Kilburn. Can you come? So I'm with my university friends. I'm like, all right, guys, I gotta go. Like, I'm leaving early. Bye-bye. I'll see you whenever.
So you left your friends to go to the masjid?
Yeah. I ran home. I did wudu. Because I'm going to the masjid, I got to do wudu, innit?
Done everything and only had the Shahada left.
And then, went to the masjid, and then, because someone had died recently in the area.
Okay.
And the imam was giving a talk. It was about death and like where you're going to be buried, and how there's some Muslims in the area that they don't pray, they don't come to the masjid. People are arguing, can they be buried in a Muslim burial ground, or should they be buried in a Christian or generic burial ground? And then you start going into like the punishment of the grave and stuff like this, and I was like, wow, like if I believe everything that you've been saying, and Islam is making more and more sense to me, if I was to die today, because bearing in mind, when I was really ill, I didn't know if it was COVID, and everyone was scared about COVID at the time. I thought I was going to die. I thought I'm going to be seriously ill for a long time. So death was kind of on my mind as well. So I was like, okay, if I had died at that point, where would I have been buried? And what would my state be when I was in the grave? Because everything he's saying making sense to me. So I'm like, well, if everything else makes sense and it's from Allah, then this has to make sense as well. And it sat in my heart nicely. Then he started talking about, son of Adam, mountain of gold. He could be given another one, he'd still want another one. So I'm like, okay, I saw that in my life as well. When I was poor, my family was poor, I made did with what I had. When I started earning money, and I'd buy a pair of shoes that I wanted for a long time. The next month, I was like, I want the same pair of shoes, just in a different color. Next month, I want the same pair of shoes again, in a third color now. I was like, okay, well, I can see again how that's in my life. Everything he's saying, I'm like, okay, I agree with this. When can I say that I'm not Muslim anymore? Like, when can I say that I'm still not Muslim, sorry? I was like, I can't really say that, kind of like, I agree with everything. And then I had plans to go to Amsterdam. Okay. That was one thing that was holding me back. Because I was like, how can I be a Muslim and then go to Amsterdam? I'm already intending to go and do a sin. If I'm a Muslim, like, I can't.
Oh, you're going to Amsterdam for for that stuff. Okay.
No, in my head, I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be a Muslim, I want to be serious about it. I don't want to be a Muslim and then not take it seriously. Which is why I was praying and fasting before. Because in my head, I was like, I want to be praying 5 times a day, fasting Ramadan, be like the best Muslim ever before I take my Shahada, because I don't want to be some waste man. Anyway, kind of got explained to me, like, the example they use was when you're driving a car, you learn to drive by getting in the car. You don't just read a manual and then you pass your test. So alhamdulillah, I took my Shahada that night. So I spoke to the Imam. I said, can I speak to you after the food? Like, we had food. So can you speak to me after you've eaten? And my friend's bugging me, like, we need to go home. Like, it's 11:30 now. It's getting late. It's like, no, please, you don't understand. Just wait. I didn't tell him why I wanted to wait. It's like, I need to speak to the imam. Anyway, alhamdulillah, I spoke to him. I said, listen, I've been fasting in Ramadan, been praying, but I haven't said my Shahada yet. But I feel like I'm ready to take that next step now. Alhamdulillah, he took it with me. And then when I got home, I told my mum straight away.
Straight away.
SubhanAllah.
Okay.
Because alhamdulillah, my mum, she's accepting of most things. Like in my family, there's a lot of, my whole family is in my cousins, everything. There's a lot of different ideologies going on there, and they're accepting of all of them. So I was like, you know what? Fine, let me just tell my mum, I'm a Muslim, she'll be fine with it. And she was fine with it, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, that's good.
The main concern was that I'd go off to another country and do some madness over there.
Oh, okay.
That's what they see on the news.
Yeah.
But they said, as long as you don't do that, it's fine. I later on realized, they said, yeah, fine, do what you want, because they thought it'd just be a phase sort of thing. They thought after a year I'll be bored of it, and I'll move on and find something different. But yeah, alhamdulillah, I stuck to it. And
Wow, subhanAllah. So did you end up going to Amsterdam then?
no, you know what it was? British Air, the airline was messaging me, emailing me saying the time of the flight has been changed. Do you want to take a voucher, or do you want to accept the change in time?
Okay.
I think the first 2 times I said I'll take the change in time before my Shahada. Then I think a week before I took my Shahada, they emailed me again saying,
Wait, so that was 2 times, so it changed twice, and then they...
so imagine it was like 7 o'clock. They said the new time of flight is 7:30.
Yeah.
Do you want to get a voucher, full refund as a voucher, so when you buy your next ticket? Or do you just want to fly at 7:30 instead of 7? So final flight at 7:30. They emailed again saying it's been moved back to the original time, 7 o'clock. Do you want to take the time change, or do you want a voucher? So no, I'll fly at 7. I think a week before my Shahada, they said it's been changed to 8 o'clock now.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? Just give me the voucher, man.
Yeah.
And that wasn't there in my head. Yeah.
That is mad, man.
It wasn't in my head thinking, I'm going to go to Amsterdam. I was like, if I go, I'm not going to have the intention to do it, but if I do it, I do it.
Yeah.
Then I was like, you know what? Like,
wow.
if they're emailing me this many times,
you changing it, it's subhanAllah.
they're emailing me this many times, then like, just take the voucher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, you 3 times.
You mentioned, you know, when you used to go to church, you said like something fell off. Like, what was that? Like, you didn't...
So in my heart, I'm like praying, asking God, like, help me believe in Jesus. Help me believe in Jesus. It didn't make sense to me. And I'm in church praying, like, help me find like Jesus and the love for Jesus and this and that. But then when I was in uni making the dawah, it was just help me find like how to actually worship you properly. The first dawah wasn't answered, the second dawah was, alhamdulillah. But so that was what it was. Just worshiping Jesus as a deity rather than as a prophet.
Just to take it back to the start of your journey and looking into Islam and that, you mentioned that you were looking through the newspapers and you know, you're looking at these mad stuff, people going abroad doing crazy stuff. Did you have like any other misconceptions, I'd say, like why do Muslims behave this way? Like misconception before you actually spoke to like the Imam, for example, asked questions. Like, was there anything like you thought?
Not any doubt I did have was stamped out pretty quickly because of the access to my friends that I had. They're all like, the reason why they were my friends in the first place was because when I was going to school and I'd see certain people on the bus singing out loud, playing music out loud, blasting out loud, being rude to the teachers, disrespecting their own friends. It's like, I can't really be friends with you. I don't like how you're acting. But when I saw how the Muslims were acting, the practicing ones, they were respectful to their parents. They were nice to each other. They weren't swearing at each other. They weren't blasting music out loud. I was like, these people are actually like decent people. I didn't take religion into consideration. It just happened that like 80% of them were Muslim. So like in my friendship group, we had like, it was me and I think 2 or 3 other non-Muslims. And then the rest were, alhamdulillah, like,
so the manners appealed to you the most.
It was the
knowledge and everything.
Cool. That's why I say a lot of times it's the actions and how you are.
That's a big one.
Before you even try and tell people about Tawheed, if you're a rude person and they just don't like you as a person, it's going to be very hard to convince them to become Muslim.
That's true.
Even if it makes the most sense, but you're just disrespectful to them,
Calling them
rude,
names.
they're just not going to find it within themselves to take it from you.
That's true.
You can come with the truth, but if they don't like you as a person, it's not going to take it. However, they were nice, respectful, polite. I was like, you know what? Religion aside, I like these people. Like, I didn't really care about their religion. I wasn't very religious myself at that time.
Yeah.
Although I was going to Bible studies and this and that, but it wasn't a thing of like, I can only be friends with Christians. It wasn't a thing like that. For me, if you're a nice person, if I liked you, I got along with you. I don't care where you're from, what color you are, what religion you are. I'm just gonna stick with you.
That's a good characteristic to have.
Yeah.
Also, another question I want to ask. How are your parents like when it came to you first accepting Islam? Were they upset about it?
So I told my mum first. Before I became Muslim, I was calling her, saying that I'm interested in it, and she's crying down the phone. I'm crying as well. So like, why do you have to do it? As I mentioned, she's like asking, can I be atheist rather than be Muslim? So, even though she herself believes in God, she's asking, why can't you believe in nothing instead of believing in Islam?
Why though? Where did you think that came from? Did she just?
I think
it's probably
it was just the fear, I think.
Yeah,
more than anything.
and the
Oh,
influence.
as in you going abroad and doing the crazy stuff.
Not even just that, like that as well, but also like Islam is a stricter religion. And
Okay.
it keeps you like in check. And she's like, like some of my family, they're part of the rainbow team.
Okay.
You're not gonna love them anymore, this and that. What you think I'm gonna go hell, this and that. That's what she's thinking, emotional stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
That's why she found it hard to accept it in the first place. And then I spoke to my stepdad about it, and he was like, as long as you don't go out there and do anything like that, then no problem.
Okay, makes
Just
sense.
be a good person. That's what, they have this be a good person mentality.
So would you say they're like the very liberal type?
Yeah.
Because they'll accept any religion
Yeah.
type of thing. Okay, cool. That makes sense.
For them, it's like, again, be a good person, but then what is a good person? What standards are you using to be a good person? Because I say to my mum, like, if your granddad, for example, your granddad lived in a very different time, he would not accept the stuff that you accept. Was he a good person? So it changes all the time. Anyway, that aside, be a good person, whatever that means. Now, as a Muslim, you have to disagree with certain things, you have to reject certain things, and you have to accept certain things, which my mom finds it very hard to accept, some of the rules and the beliefs. So that's one thing that they didn't want me to become Muslim. But I think I said, the reason why they kind of accepted it was because they thought it'd be a phase. They thought it'd be like 1 or 2 years, I'll get bored of it, and then I'll come back to Christianity or whatever.
What were you? Were you like Christian, Catholic, or?
So I was Church of England,
Okay.
and in primary school there was a thing called Jesus and Me Club.
Jesus and Me Club.
Yeah, it's called Jam Club for short. It was every like one day after school we'd go through stories of the Bible, and we'd learn about it. And then when I went to secondary school, there's a few of us. It was me and 3 other guys, plus their children at home. It was Jam Senior. It was at their house on a Friday night. We'd have food there, and we do Bible study, go again, stories of the Bible. We'd memorize Bible verses, this and that. And yeah.
Wow.
Like-
So you're very active. So you're basically
Yeah.
giving Dawah, but like when you were a Christian as well.
Yeah, so with that group, I was on Oxford Street, handing out Bibles.
SubhanAllah.
And I'd actually target people with beards and
Wow.
like take this Bible, take the Bible, because I knew like the likelihood of them being non-Christians. I was like trying to give them the Bible.
Have you ever had like a confrontation with a Muslim, like, or not a confrontation, but like a debate, and then you couldn't maybe?
No, not
eat them,
really.
or maybe-
They
not
just
really?
ignored me pretty much. I was like, what, 10, 11? Like, yeah.
I think a lot of them get ignored now. Nowadays, I see a lot of them just instead of like take the Bible. That was good what you were doing, and I guess for the Christians. But nowadays, all I see is people just singing and.
Yeah, I don't really
Yeah.
see that
Like church
anymore.
songs and
You
stuff.
see
and
on-
it's not
on-
Even out here, man.
Yeah, like every Wednesday. like-
Oxford Circus, they have like the big speaker. And I think that puts people off.
yeah, it does. No one's gonna honestly.
Like me, when I was a Christian and I see that, it's like, this is weird, man. And if someone's outside the religion, looking into that, there's like, you look like
Yeah,
you've lost some brain cells. So.
yeah.
Wow,
Just
that-
shouting.
Yeah. Also, you see like on Oxford Street, you see I think it's Buddhist or whatever. They have a white guy there with them, but they got bells and what's that? thing called? It's like the metal plates.
Yeah. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, they're walking around doing that, and it's like it looks so weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to you. Like, how can this be like? You're walking barefoot on Oxford Street, banging symbols together. It's like,
yeah, I guess to get some sort of attention, I guess.
Yeah, and
but I think that's more an effective way, just passing out leaflets, whatever. If they're taking it out, instead of looking crazy.
Yeah, I think that's what's good about the Islamic Dawah. When you have a table, like, I'm gonna chat to you if you wanna chat to me. Take this leaflet, read it, and then come back next week and have a chat.
So is that what you do nowadays, or
you transferred the Dawah?
you switch teams?
I stay away from that mostly because like the areas where it happens, like if I go to like Hyde Park, whatever,
that's
you walk there and instantly you're 5 people try and jump on you and
you got a bit, come here. What do you think about
There's this one guy, like, he said, I'm not gonna record. Speaking to me, next thing I know, there's a camera in my face.
The camera's like, keep talking.
Like, even they're not affiliate. Like, you see people, they got like 5 different microphones. It's 5. The Christian guys recording them, the Muslim guys recording them, another Muslim and another Christian is recording them, all for their own YouTube channel. And it's like,
some places it shouldn't be done.
Yeah, it's like, and a lot of them, they're speaking without knowledge as well. And I'm not at a point where if someone came to me with a question, I'd feel comfortable asking it without checking what someone else first.
What the scholars say about us.
Exactly. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, would you say the first time you came across Islam or the concept of Islam was through your friends, or did you know about Islam before that?
So I knew it was a religion.
Okay.
Like religious education in primary school, we learned about Islam a little bit. Like, I knew, you believe in Allah and you believe in the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Apart from that, I didn't know anything. Like, but then when I spoke to my friends, obviously in RE as well, we learned about the 5 pillars and this and that. But anything like intricate, didn't know. It was mostly just like, okay, I see something in the newspaper. I see, okay, that doesn't feel right to me.
And the news or newspaper.
Speak to my friends. That doubt gets squashed.
Okay.
And then I see how they act. And I was mostly basing it off that.
Okay.
One of my friends, he stopped listening to music, for example.
Okay.
Was in like year 8 in Ramadan. He said, I'm not listening to music anymore. And I was like, that's so weird. The guys are like, no, like, it's good. Like, he's showing dedication and this and that. And that's like, fair enough. And they start speaking to me about like, when you listen to music, what are you doing? Like these guys, they used to listen to music as well, some of them. But then they knew it was wrong. And they commended him for not doing it anymore. It was a thing of like, when you're listening to music, how does are you in control of what you're doing? Do you think it changes like some of what you're saying?
Definitely changes your mood and everything, how you feel.
Exactly. Like, you see some of the statements of the scholars as well, like it's like the intoxication of the soul, like makes you.
So they were asking me these questions, and I was like, you know what? Okay, fair enough. But I didn't really like follow up on that. I just listened to music, carried on doing what I was doing. Then obviously as I became Muslim, stamped these habits out. But yeah,
I have to ask you this question. I ask like almost every revert. Before you were Muslim or before you found out about Islam, did you think that Muslims hate Jesus?
No.
Okay.
There was a video that was going around. It was like, I love Jesus because I'm a Muslim.
Okay.
It was like they made their own beat using the tables and the hands, whatever. They're going around in a circle saying, I love Jesus because I'm a Muslim. Speak to my friends, they're like, Isa alayhi salam, this and that. We just don't believe he died on the cross. We believe he's the prophet. We don't believe he's the son of God. So
when you first found that out, was that like a shock to you? Or?
Not really, because because I kind of grew up with these guys.
Okay.
I just like, it wasn't a shock per se. Because again, in RE lessons as well, you learn it. And because I was young, it wasn't a thing of like, oh, for my whole life I thought you guys did this, and so I was young, I was just taking in whatever. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. After accepting Islam, alhamdulillah, did you face any, like backlash from any of your Christian friends or family?
I didn't really have many Christian friends.
Okay.
That was the thing, because most of my friendship group were Muslim, or they were like nothing, like atheist, or they didn't really have a religion per se. So if anything, like one thing I thank Allah so much for every day is that when I became Muslim, I already had a circle of practicing Muslim brothers around me.
Good,
It wasn't a thing of like, okay, I found Islam online, or I went to a speaker's corner, came to Islam, but I have no connections to Islam. I'm at home, I don't know what to do. that I had a friendship group around me that was able to like help me on my journey. Like my friends were teaching me how to pray before I was Muslim. We'd go out, we'd have a meal, Isha kicks in, we pray Isha together, for example.
Well, like, that's such a big blessing having like friends that are Muslim as soon as you become a Muslim, because there's a lot of people nowadays, reverts, they have no one around them, like they do iftar by themselves. It can lead them to just straying away and going back to the normal ways.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, either their friends were Muslim but not very practicing, and then so they get stuck in that non-practicing phase for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years or whatever, or they have no access to a Muslim community around them. I know one brother, I think I read a story online, he became Muslim in Cambridge before there was any Muslims in Cambridge. He was the first Muslim in his city. And so for him, how is he going to build that connection? How is he like, even things like marriage, how is he going to get married? There's no Muslims around him. Iftar, who's he going to break fast with? Who's he going to pray with? How is he, like he's an old man as well. The internet is a foreign concept to him. For him to go on YouTube and look, like for me to go and watch a video, learn how to pray, it's like the most logical thing to do is I'll go on YouTube and look at how to do it. For him, that concept is so foreign to him that he's going to be stuck not knowing how to pray because he doesn't know how YouTube works. There's no Muslims around him telling him like copy me. So I've been so blessed to be put in, number one, a city where there's so many Muslims, and 2, to be with a friendship group that were practicing.
That's good. That's good, man. We're going to wrap it up soon. Always end with this question, inshallah. What's one advice you'd give to someone that was born Muslim, advising them on taking advantage of something that they were born with? So someone that's born as a Muslim, what would you say is one thing that they take advantage of?
One thing that you take advantage of?
Or you should take advantage of.
Should take advantage of. Take advantage of the fact that
because I guess you kind of like looking at it like from a,
I'd say like the community that you have. Even if it's not the best community, at least it's a Muslim community. And there will be somewhere where you can pray, for example, with a group of brothers, or like for breaking fast, you have your family that you break fast with. Like thank Allah for that consistently, because there's so many brothers out there and so many sisters as well. Let's not forget the sisters, when they become Muslim, a lot of the masajid don't cater for them as much. If you have that, thank Allah for it every day. When it's Ramadan and you're fasting and you have your family to break fast with, thank Allah not just for the food, but the fact that you have someone, you have a community, you have a family. When you go to the masjid, this is you being probably like, I know a lot of people didn't go to masjid very much as when they were younger, but you'll see people, if you're Somali and you go to masjid, you're most likely going to see 10 other Somalis. If you're Pakistani, you're going to see 10 other Pakistanis. You have people that are from your country, speak your language, are from your culture, and they will understand you. Like take advantage of that, but thank Allah for it as well, and just make them as much use of it as possible.
I agree. That's one thing that's we're very disconnected nowadays in the community, especially Muslim communities. Even in UK in general, like the family system has just crumbled a bit. No one's in touch with the family like that.
Because some people are back home as well.
Some people
far away. So.
That's a good one. Okay, say if there's someone watching this right now, they're on the verge of accepting Islam, but they still have like something holding them back, whether they're sinning too much, they're like, I can't join it straight away. Not join it as if it's a club, but like I can't accept Islam straight away because I'm still going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I know it's the truth, but I'm just half-hearted, if that makes sense. What advice or what steps would you tell them to take, or something to do for them to just finally just accept Islam?
Number one, if you think of the worst person in the world, look at the story of Umar radiallahu anh. He wanted to kill the Prophet. What you're doing is not as bad as wanting to kill the Prophet. Whether you're smoking every day, drinking every day, doing whatever you're doing, it's not as bad as wanting to kill the Prophet of Islam. And then he became one of the best of men after he took his Shahada. Right? So no matter what you're doing now, it's never as bad as that. And you don't have to reach his level. I think one of the someone came up to the Prophet Muhammad and said, I'm not going to do anything except for the 5 pillars. I'm only going to pray, like take my Shahada, I'm going to pray, fast on Ramadan, pay my zakat and go on Hajj. That's it. That's what I'm going to do. And Prophet Muhammad said, if you're truthful, he's going to be a man of Jannah. So you don't have to do, don't think, right, I'm doing all these sins. Number one, you're not as bad as Umar was. Number two, you don't have to put so much on yourself that you're gonna overburden yourself. Allah says in the Quran that He will not burden a soul more than it can bear. You yourself need to understand that you're not gonna be like the scholars from day one. Take it easy, step by step. When you're eating a cake, you take one slice at a time. You don't eat the whole cake in one go.
Same analogy that.
When you're driving a car, you don't start driving at 100 miles an hour. You start on the side roads and then you go to the main roads, then the motorway. Right? When you're learning to read as a child, you start with your ABCs, big letters, and then as you get older, you start learning how to join up your handwriting. Islam is the same thing. You start with your alif, ba, ta, and then you go on to other and harder and more complex things. So if you're looking to become Muslim but you think you're the worst of sinners, you're not as bad as he was. If you think it's going to be too much on you once you do become Muslim, it's up to you how much you want to do from the get-go. Right? As long as you're upholding your obligations. So first thing to focus on is the salah. Once you take your shahada, just focus on salah, learning how to pray and how to get ready for the salah. So learn how to do, learn how to pray. Apart from that, everything else, like the Ramadan comes once a year. You don't need to worry about Ramadan and fasting Ramadan until Ramadan comes. And even then, like if you go to the masjid, they can help you out. Zakah, only certain people have to pay zakah if you're earning a certain amount. If you're not earning a certain amount, don't worry about that. If you haven't got that in your savings, don't worry about that. And Hajj, like, unless you've got 10k sitting in your bank account, you don't need to worry about that for now. You know what I'm saying? Just, again, it's how much you think about it and how you think about it, is how you're going to be practicing. If you look at it as, okay, I'm going to take it step by step, then it'll be easier for you and it won't be such a overburdening thing. You know?
But yeah, man, that was good advice. That was good advice. May Allah bless you. We're going to wrap up the video now, inshallah ta'ala. Going to bring more guests soon, inshallah. Make sure you share this with all your friends and family, because there might be someone there that's non-Muslim and wants that one story that can just flick the switch. So just share the video, inshallah. Yahya, barakallahu feek for jumping on the podcast. May Allah bless you. And yeah, guys, inshallah, we'll see you on another episode. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.